Hi. First off, I want to say thank you for sticking around to episode 3. I know that the quality, the audio, the concepts, everything, it might have been a little strange at first, but, it's just the start of this. So thank you for sticking around and having patience. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And I promise that it will pay off eventually. So this episode, it's number 3. This one, I'll be interviewing, or more like hosting, one of my dearest friends, Yazmin. Yazmin is one of the people that inspires me the most. She is an incredibly curious person. She's super kind and she's very outgoing, honestly. She's calmed down a bit. But she's still this beautiful human being, and it's incredible to have her around. So please reach out to her, connect with her, and just grow with her. Be innovative as much as you can. Please, this is what this is for. So, in this episode, we talk about the imposter syndrome. We talk about how to take action, about connecting with people, and about the results that you may find and having the right mindset to approach people. I would describe that as the topic of the podcast, but there's a lot more that we cover. So, that's just pretty much 2 hours in a nutshell. So, without further ado, I welcome you to episode 3 of Tribe with my friend, our friend, the tribe's friend, Yazmin. Thank you. Welcome to Tribe.
Thank you.
I haven't seen you in a minute, honestly. It's been a while since the last time I saw you, and I feel like a lot has changed. But I still remember Yaz from freshman year. um, and so back then, some of your crazy accomplishments were, you know, interviewing slash like being a host, one of the major hosts for the Montclair what was it, podcast?
Yeah, so we have the Montclair radio station at the SEM, so the School of Communications, and it's WMSC 90.3, the vibes. So yeah, I was a radio host there. So
Nice.
yeah,
How do you like it?
yeah. I mean, I was a radio host there from let me see, I was part of the station actually starting my freshman year, and that was COVID, and so I was actually part of the station virtually at first.
Yeah.
And then going into the spring semester of my freshman year is when I was like, I got the it's not certificate, but certified to be a radio host.
Wow.
Yeah. So
How old were you?
I was 18 then. Yeah. So I was
What?
18. Yeah. So got certified so I can actually have my own show or at least talk on air and not make a mistake or get in trouble with the FCC. And so, yeah. And then coming into my spring semester once again, freshman year, I ended up hosting my own show, Yaz Uncensored.
Okay.
And it was based off of my YouTube channel, Yaz Uncensored, which didn't have a lot of content, but the whole goal of Yaz Uncensored was to tell stories or meet people and let them tell their stories. And so I decided to make it to a radio show that spring, and I was interviewing artists from like across the world. And then
Nice.
going into sophomore year, me and my friend Daji at the time, she created a show called Aquí Planeta Tierra y Sin Límites. And so both were Latinx shows. One was more music related, one was more news related, and so I would co-host with her with those two. And yeah,
This is awesome.
that was pretty much it. And I was, interviewing artists, like I said, from everywhere at the time. And I mean, you mentioned earlier Slash was one of them. One of the newest up and coming artists from the Latino side, Silvana Estrada. I got to interview her, which
Wow.
was amazing because she's like literally my favorite artist from at least that genre. So yeah, that was
Dude,
like the radio
crazy.
history.
I remember I would hit you up and you'll be like, "Oh no, I got this coming up."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Damn, how is this girl so busy every time?"
Always busy. I honestly think that this past semester was the most relaxed semester I've ever had. Like I was so chill and it was great. I took a break. Honestly, I stopped radio actually my junior year because I want to focus on my career. I was working at Apple. Funny enough, I went from radio to all right. Now we're working in retail. So yeah, I was working
Apple
at
is art, kind of.
yeah. It was actually pretty funny because me and a few friends they like Dashi was one of them, and she convinced me to apply to Apple. And I was like, I don't have any retail experience. I own a Samsung phone, first of all. I think the only Apple product I have is literally a MacBook. Like, why would I apply? She's like, just apply, just apply. They're opening a new store. It's in East Rutherford. They haven't disclosed where it's at. Whatever.
They get the money.
Exactly. But yeah, so what ended up happening was I applied and I applied for the entry level role and I don't know what it was. I don't know how I got it, but I was offered a genius admin role, which is like
Wow.
kind of like a managerial position within the genius room, or the genius bar, I should say. And so yeah, my junior year it was a lot of character building. I was literally in school, at work, and that was it. That was my life.
Wow, dude.
The entirety of junior year. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yep. So I was also busy.
Do they
but
bully you for having a Samsung?
it was crazy. It was always the GoFundMe, the GoFundMe page, to get Yaz a iPhone. If I had my like Samsung around like at work, they'd be like, hide that away, and I'm like, come on now, like, let it stay there. Like,
Oh my god.
I put
Were
it on
they
the desk.
serious like that?
Yeah, no, they were joking, but.
I could see them be serious though.
But no, like they were like, yo, if I ever got a text message from someone with a green text bubble, I wouldn't respond. I'm like,
Oh my god.
it's a green text
I
bubble.
cannot imagine you trying to sell an iPhone.
No, that's the thing.
Trust
Thankfully,
me, buy this. It's the
no,
best.
no, it was really funny because I literally wasn't. Thank God I wasn't selling iPhones. I was just like I was more in the background, like dealing with customer service essentially. But I had to deal with iPhone repairs. Like I personally wasn't fixing the iPhones. I was helping manage the people who were fixing iPhones, fixing
Copy.
Macs, all that jazz.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was pretty funny though, because like if someone's like, "What's your advice on this?" and they're like, "Do I upgrade my phone? Do I repair it? Do I did it?" and I'd be like, "Listen, I'm gonna be honest with you," and I would just lay it straight out. But yeah,
Like,
it was
gone.
be like, listen, realistically, you're gonna either have to upgrade stuff like that. But yeah, it was pretty funny though. It was interesting though, because most of my coworkers in the repair room were like at least 22 and up, and I was 19 at the time. So
How did it feel like getting like a manager position like young?
It was so weird, to say the least. I was 19 or 20. I can't remember right now. I'm already losing track of time. But it was really strange.
Get
Yeah.
dementia.
No, like, you know what's happening, But yeah, it was strange, because like some colleagues would joke around and be like, I could be your dad. And I'm like, okay, first of all, wait a minute. Let's not say that.
Pause.
Literally, ayo, pause. But, they were all like joking around. So it was all like fun and games. But it was strange because like, you have like the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like,
do I belong here?
Yeah, do I deserve this? Do
Yeah.
I belong here? Am I worthy? Am I capable of this? So yeah, it was a huge learning curve. And at the same time, like junior year was also the year I was learning how to drive again. I was dealing with a lot of classes where I was pursuing new passions like film photography. So it was just a lot of learning all at once.
That was after COVID, right?
Yeah. So this is going into junior year. So like last year.
How did COVID affect you during that time period then?
Yeah. So by then COVID was honestly eased down. Like by that point, I know that class regulations, for example, you no longer had to wear a mask.
Yeah.
But I think the issue was I went from a lifestyle that was more, because I know sophomore year and freshman year, I was busy, but there was some balance because, at least we were working predominantly from home.
Yes. Yeah, that was one of the benefits of COVID during
Yeah,
in
so
school.
like if you're busy, at least, there wasn't a huge chunk of time that was dedicated to transportation. That wasn't the case. You could just like manage your own time. But no, when junior year hit, it was like, I don't know, like there was just no time because if I wasn't in class or if I wasn't at work, I was driving or something like that.
How did you feel like mentally during that time period?
Toasted. I was burnt out. I can like 100% say that was honestly my lowest low. Like
During COVID or like after?
after COVID actually.
After COVID.
So during COVID, I was graduating from high school. I was a senior, and that was like the peak of COVID. And then so essentially, the COVID timeline for me was, COVID timeline for me was, my senior year, or the end of my senior year of high school, all the way until let's say the beginning of my junior year of college. And I'm not gonna lie, I got lucked out with COVID. Yeah, did I experience it? Was it a bad experience going through COVID? Yeah, but overall, mental health wise, I was at like my peace. Like I was.
Yeah, because you're super energetic.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? Make the most out of life. Let's try for goals. And I had the time to kind of sit down and like really know who I was. Like my freshman year of college, I actually lived on campus. Don't know why, but I lived on campus, and I was really by myself. Like
Why do you say you don't know why?
I so freshman year there wasn't really a lot of classes in person. So
Oh,
I
I
was
see.
living at the dorm, and the only reason like I chose to live at the dorm was there was like a few classes that said they were hybrid,
Oh,
and I
they
just
really.
they really weren't
Yeah.
though, because if I knew they weren't like that, I would have just stayed home. But the reason why I was like, oh, let me live in the dorm was I'm like an hour away from like where I
Yeah,
live usually.
like every day would be crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I lived on campus, and it was, Montclair tends to be a ghost town, but
Yeah.
it was like a ghost town during COVID. And so I go from a household where there's like 7 of us under one roof to a
Yes.
dorm where I'm like by myself, and then my roommate's like in a singles dorm as well. Like
Yeah,
we're
isolated,
separated.
yeah.
We're not. So yeah, it was a huge environment shift, and so it was a lot of self-reflection, and honestly it was very slow paced. My freshman fall semester was very slow paced. I joined WMSC for that reason, just so I can like try to get the college experience, and then I joined LASO, the Latin American Student Organization,
Oh, okay.
to also try to get that college experience. And it was honestly the winter into spring of my freshman year is when things started to pick up. And
Copy.
yeah, sophomore year came, and that's when really all my experiences were like.
Do you
going
think that's
through.
why you decided to like join like the Apple job and stuff like that?
It really was, because at one point my sophomore year, I also had a career shift. I noticed that I didn't want to do necessarily strictly narrative film. I noticed that I've always knew that I wanted to do documentary film, but I always thought that could be like a side passion. I didn't think I could really make an income out of that. Even film itself, I didn't think I could make an income out of it, but I wanted to hope, so I wanted to try. And as I was taking classes my sophomore year, I realized I don't want to just limit myself to narrative films. So going into my junior year, I switched from the film BFA program to the film and TV Bachelor's of Arts, because it gave me more free time away from class, because you know how it's very
Yeah.
production heavy, the BFA.
Yes.
And so junior year,
It's definitely its own like realm when you're in university. Like
Yes.
I feel like everybody has to do certain things like homework or study for this test.
Yep.
But in the BFA,
And it's very production heavy.
yeah, very. And like you get graded by your participation.
Yep.
So that, like you would think an exam is just like, oh, you take it and you study however long. But in production, there is no set times.
There isn't. Nope.
They always say 3 to 5. No, it's not 3 to 5. It's 3 to 10.
And then you have to be on film sets, and you have to take these production classes that are like 4 or 5 hours long sometimes. And honestly, I'm not saying that, I didn't learn from those classes, but I was learning more from the film sets than I was from those long production classes. And because of that, I was like, you know what? I don't want to not necessarily waste my time, because I don't think you can ever waste your time. There's no such thing. But I wanted to effectively use my time. So going into junior year, I took classes that really were my interests.
Yeah.
And I had time to also do things outside of the classroom. And I so happened to get hired at the same time with Apple. So yeah, I was doing a lot of things that truly like were my interests since like I was a kid. Like film photography, I loved. My mom was the one that showed me how to introduced me to film photography. I took a marine biology class because I absolutely love marine biology. I literally live by the beach, like stone's throw away.
Yeah. I remember your dream was to become a marine biologist.
That's correct, yeah. And so, junior year was like, I was taking all these classes that were like, yes, this is going to build my future. And then I burnt myself out because I over-applied myself. So going into the summer, I actually quit my job at Apple. And then I was like, you know what? Let me take it easy my senior year. Let me actually make sure that I'm not burning myself out, because there's no benefit to trying to force all your interests and learn them all at once.
Yes. It's like that saying, you choose 2 carrots and you get none.
Right. Exactly. Literally what ended up happening, because so many great things came out of that year, and it was, I would say, the results of certain classes were a poor reflection of what I'm capable of, because I was stretched too thin. One of the classes I took was about Native American preservation within New Jersey, and we were working it was not a traditional class. It was like we're working with the tribe. We're trying to set up a way to not just protect them from law and protect their land, but help them raise their future generation.
Wow.
And
That was in school. That was a class that you
that
took?
was a class, yeah.
That's crazy. That's a really dope class.
It was a really awesome class. And, you know, I actually had the opportunity to make a documentary, and it, looking back, I was like, oh, I wish I had more time for this documentary, because I ended up like recording, editing all of it by myself. So the quality just wasn't there. And the story, I feel like, could have been stronger. So, you know, there's like those kind of moments that I'm like, oof, I wish I had the time that to apply more to those kind of projects that I had the opportunity to be a part of, because they deserved it, and I was just stretched too thin.
Could it be that, like, so you know when people, I don't want to like knock down on the diseases or whatever, whatever you may want to call it, but this is gonna be like a sensitive topic, I guess. But
Yeah.
but when people, I posted it yesterday, choose a dream goal and work towards it consistently, and I promise you will not be depressed.
Right.
And so I feel like a lot of people nowadays don't have a set goal, and so that's a way for them to enter depression. And
Yeah.
so what you're saying, I feel like you weren't really depressed. Maybe you were more like anxious of how many things you had to do.
Yeah, I mean, anxiety and stress were at an all-time like high. And I would say I wasn't diagnosed. I mean, I was technically diagnosed, but with depression. But honestly, it was just the stress. It was the stress, and then I think you briefly mentioned how like you were reading a lot of things recently, and it's been like a lot of internal turmoil.
Yeah.
That's what was happening to me. I'm like, I'm interested in this and this and this. How can I do all this? Da-da-da? Is this the right path? And so
And you were also switching majors, so like I guess for like your surroundings, you're meeting new people, and you're like being like told like stuff like, oh, why are you doing that?
Why are you doing that?
Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, you're already there.
Yep.
And that creates more like insecurities, I guess.
Right.
And yeah, you start to question your future. Like, man, am I really like doing the right moves, or am I just like wasting time, money, and energy?
Exactly. And then at the same time, junior year was also the shift that I took from just being a student to also being like an adult, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
applying yourself to the workforce.
Yeah, because I've always been financially independent ever since college started. I don't know if you could hear that.
I don't think so.
Okay. But yeah, I once college started, I was financially independent. I pay for my tuition, I pay for my food, I pay for everything. And so junior year was when I was like, oh my God, I have to pay for all this stuff. And, you know, this is a career that, who knows, you know, will it be steady? Will it be stable? Was this income be able to sustain my interests, but also make a living? Will I be able to feed myself the next day?
Yes, of course.
So junior year was a lot of that. It was a lot of like financial, not instability, but insecurity. So, yeah, it was just like a lot all at once. And then like I said, once I quit my job, you know, in the summer, honestly, I was just like a couch potato. I had to take a minute to like not do anything. And then towards the end of the summer into this past fall, it was when I was like, take it one step at a time.
I think
that focus on what you got to do.
Those really low moments are the ones that help you understand where your passions really lie and where your interests are. It's like, yeah, you may be interested in that, but is it something that you will be interested in 10 years?
Exactly, yeah.
Or, you know, if you're losing interest in it now, then it probably is best to look at something else and apply yourself there instead.
Yeah, I'm junior year. The reason why I really did that shift, I left radio station my junior year, aside from being super busy. I had an internship with a syndicate, and they're like a media, entertainment, advertisement-based agency.
Copy.
And so I was doing promotions work for them, and that's when I realized I'm not really interested in like the, I guess, data entry promotions life. Like, I like to be the, you know, in the production of like with the artists and everything like that. And so type. You know, that was a great learning curve. Yes. I was like, okay, I can tick that off as like, don't want to do that.
Scratch that.
Exactly. And then I had an internship with the Metropolitan Riveters, the women's hockey team that used to play at American Dream. And I had the internship for the entire junior year, like fall and spring semester. And so as I was working with them, I realized, okay, there's a certain aspect of sports communication that I am interested in, but do I want to pursue that as like a full-time job? So even to this day, I still question it. But it really showed me like another world. Like I was traveling with a team and they were like covering the cost. I'm like, whoa, I'm like traveling and I'm recording. I'm doing the stuff that
That's
I
the
love.
best way of traveling.
Yeah.
It's paid for.
Exactly. I don't know if facts would just get paid for it. But it was like a really fun time. And like,
How old were you when that was all happening?
let me see. 20 and 21. So I was 20 years old and not
How
even.
did you get that gig?
Oh,
Not a lot of people are able to do that. Like just finding a hockey team to shoot, for example, like, and then like shooting like
yep.
the women's team,
Yep.
or like New Jersey, pretty much. New Jersey, New York, right?
Yeah, New Jersey, New York. So the league itself, so the Premier Hockey Federation, the PHF at the time, they just got like bought out essentially, but PHF at the time, it was the professional women's hockey league within like the North America region. And so the way I got the gig is actually pretty funny. Daji said her name a couple of times. She used to be part of the school's hockey team, and so she worked at was Lululemon, an American Dream.
Wow.
And she said that there was hockey players from the Metropolitan Riveters that would come into the store, and then she became a fan of the team. And I told her about my interest in like shooting women's sports, and she was like, "You should reach out to the hockey team." And I'm like, oh, "Okay." So I went on their website, and there was nothing that stated like internship nothing like that.
Yeah.
So in this little forum question thing that they have on the website, you'd think it would go to spam. I got lucky. I reached out to them on that forum, and I got an email back, and it was like, "Send me your resume. We'll see what we can do." And it was insane because they just hired a new social media manager essentially, and he was also new. So I was new, and he was like, "You can come under my wing, and we'll give you an internship position as a content creator."
Wow.
So essentially, if I didn't reach out, that role wouldn't have existed. And they were starting to create internship by the spring semester. They created an actual internship program.
Dude, that is so freaking cool, because I bet things like that, like people like you, being able to like promote them and like see that there is an interest there, was what was able to like let the league grow. Yeah. I'm sure they got a big upgrade now. And so things like that, like just the reaching out is like what creates the magic. Like they say that miracles don't happen by itself; they happen through action.
And honestly, that was a lesson in itself. There's not a lot of the times, especially in this industry, you won't be able to find a job opening like on LinkedIn. It's not like a traditional thing where you're like, okay, here's a website, here's a new job, apply. Yeah. No, a lot of the times it's literally just connecting with people, reaching out. You have to make the effort to reach out.
Yes. There's
so many opportunities out there that don't exist, so you have to be the one to create it. Yeah. And after that, honestly, it was that experience in itself was the motivator for me to officially create my own production company. And so I opened the business this summer because of that, because I was like, all right, I realized that I can't really hope and pray that I'll just get hired somewhere. Maybe I'm going to be the one that's going to have to like find my clients myself and find my business myself. So
what do you think gave you that entrepreneurial like go-getter mentality?
It's actually pretty funny. I've actually had that mentality since I was in grade school, in elementary school. Yeah. I joke around about this story. So tying back to the marine science interest, when I first moved to Middletown from Newark, we lived not too far from Sandy Hook, and Sandy Hook, the national park beach, and they had a marine science program for like young kids. And when I found out about it, I was like, "Mom, can I go, please?" Yeah. She's like, "We just moved, we can't afford it, And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I don't know what it was in me, but one day I saw that my family was like, put some like rinky-dinky looking shelf roller thingy on the side of the road. And I'm like, I'm going to turn that into a lemonade stand. And so I grabbed it, dragged it back into the garage. My grandma's like, "What are you doing? We're throwing that out." And I'm like, "That's mine now." And so that summer, I would shove like a book or anything underneath it so it balanced. And instead of selling lemonade, I realized, let me sell iced tea. I don't see anyone selling iced tea. So I started selling iced tea for like 25 cents a cup. And that summer, I was able to pay for myself to go into the camp.
Damn.
So it became a tradition. Like every summer, I would sell iced tea. I kid you not, I would wake up at like probably 8 a.m. in the morning or something like that, 7 in the morning, something like that. Yeah. And I would just sit outside of my driveway from like morning to night.
I think then again, that ties back to the, you changing your major.
Right.
It's something that you're willing to not even pay for, but like take a loss. Even like
Right.
you're a kid, you should be spending time with your friends or like doing this and that.
Right.
But to
Yeah.
you, that was way more valuable than
Hands down.
doing anything else.
Yeah. And it was that, I think that was also one of the first lessons as a kid, and how I became I am with like finances and money. And I was like, no, I'm gonna pay my own way. Like I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a kid, you depend on your
Yeah.
family. But I was like, in this case and scenario, this is a want. This is not a need.
Yes.
And I want to make sure that I reach my need. So I found a way to do it. And like I said, I did it every summer, I think, up until like freshman year
Maybe
of high school.
that's how you realize what your passion is.
Yeah.
When it doesn't become a want and it becomes a need.
Right.
It's like something that even if you don't do it, like you feel like you've just like been shot or something.
No, literally,
It
that
literally
was
stings
exactly
so
it.
much.
My whole family really thought that I was going to go the marine science route because of my passion for the field.
You're like, nope, psych.
And
Film.
then high school came, and I took a photography class and a videography class, and it was like a film TV class, and I was like, so I'm gonna do film. And my whole family was like, wait, what? Because I was always, the STEM girl.
Yeah.
And so I realized the reason that what really pushed me to do film and TV was, once again, I had too many interests, and I was like, what career can encompass all my interests? And I was like, oh, documentary. So
yeah,
went to college, and yeah,
that makes sense.
That was honestly the path from science to
that would
film
make
TV.
sense, honestly, and I
Yeah.
feel like that would fit you well.
No, yeah, and it was cool because I, from freshman year to junior year, I wasn't really doing documentary. It wasn't like the first taste of documentary again was that class I told you about, the Native American class. And when I took that class, I'm like, it was like a wake up call. That was like my spring semester, and it was a wake up call. Like, this is what I love to do. What have I been doing these last 3 years?
Yeah.
And so, I reached out to friends and see like who they knew, to try to get back into the field of production and the field of specifically documentary. And once again, Daji, she introduced me to a professor who she had for anthropology. And this professor, Courtney Bergeson, she works for National Geographic. She's a researcher for them.
Yeah.
And so, I got into contact with her this summer, and she was in Madagascar because like half of the year she's in Madagascar doing her research, and half the year, she's back in Jersey, being a professor. And after that, honestly, that's how the rest of my school year, my senior year, shaped. It was like, all right, I'm now pursuing my main goal. And it's trying to get into documentary, try to, create my business. But yeah, so that's how it's been so far this year.
That's so crazy. It says Viktor Frankl in his book, A Man's Search for Meaning. He says, what do you think? Do you think humans have a purpose?
I don't think so. I don't think you're born with a purpose. I think that you create your purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that you give meaning to life.
Word. I like that. Yeah.
I feel like if you can determine what that is, maybe this week.
Yeah.
This is the meaning of life this week. That can change in a month, in a year.
Yeah.
I feel like it's okay for that to fluctuate. So I don't think there's just one path, one fate. I feel like it's all up to you.
Yeah, that's what he says. He says it comes with the problems. So it's like a game of chess. Your opponent life throws a punch at you, and you gotta counter that move and then overcome it to eventually win the game.
Right.
And so it's like every little win is what piles up to the big win. So yeah, completely agree. It does fluctuate a lot.
Oh, hands down.
Yes.
Hands down. I mean, if I can like accumulate everything I've done at university, it's just been everywhere. I've done social media, I've done video, I've done film, I've done TV, I've done podcasts, I've done radio. You name it. Like anything you name within the communication realm, I've pretty much done except for like PR. So I feel like being able to try out these different things gives you the opportunity to learn more about yourself and what you want to do, like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you feel like being a I guess it's not teenager anymore, being a young adult, shaping up, your schedule's pretty full, I'm sure. And you have school, you got work, whatever, you got social life, you got family life. Yeah. How do you feel like balancing that affects you, and like
Yeah.
what have you learned from that?
Yeah. That was honestly a challenge last year as a junior. Because there was no balance. It was just like two main focuses to the extreme.
Yeah.
And so going into this year, it's a struggle to want to do it all.
Yes.
Like, for example, because of my extreme ways last year, I took a halt with my fitness, and I was like, and then on top of that, I was barely communicating with family, and that was also like off-putting because like I used to visit my family like at least every weekend.
Yes.
And then hanging out with friends was just non-existent. There was no social life. So it was just very stressful because then I was like feeling very guilty that I'm not achieving these things at the same time that I'm pushing myself so hard. So finding that balance, honestly, I don't know what the solution is. I feel like it depends person to person. And I feel like that's a question or a struggle, or not a struggle, but a challenge.
Definitely conflict.
A conflict, yeah, that you will continue to face.
Yeah.
No matter what. Like, I feel like balance is key, but it's okay if you can't achieve it right away, or it can't achieve it to perfection.
Yeah.
And
I think aiming to achieve it to perfection is setting yourself up for failure.
Hands down. So one thing that I did learn, at least that has assisted me along the way, is creating a very minimal structure for yourself. Like, outline your days that you feel more available. And then from there, just play it by ear. Go with the flow. Like, if you have the urge to reach out to a loved one, do it.
Yeah.
If you have the urge to go to the gym, do it.
Yeah.
Because
it's the small victories at the end of the day.
Right. Because you can't just depend on like the feeling and motivation, but it's the first step you can do. And then from there, you can start creating that structure and layout, and you'll see what works best for you.
There's this thing that's like private victories, and those are like also just as valuable as the big ones. And for a lot of people that are very successful, they remember their first million, obviously, but they also remember like the first 100,000, and to them that's more valuable.
Yeah.
So for people ourselves, I know I've been struggling with this a lot, like instant gratification and delayed gratification. And so I feel like once I'm like at a good place, like I guess, in society we measure success by status, by financial wealth. But, you can also be wealthy in friends and family and having a loving family.
Yeah.
But if you if you're having those instant gratification or delayed gratification, your biggest victory might be overcoming those challenges.
Right.
Like, it's good to have fun, but there's also a lot of temptations, and like you gotta balance it properly.
Yeah.
So yeah, what do you think, like in terms of instant gratification and delayed gratification? Like, how do you feel about that as a person in our time? I feel like I've seen it personally from people that are very driven, that they're unable to balance those two. Like, sometimes they're like, oh my God, like, I don't want to miss out. I'm young. It's my 20s. I want to go out. I want to go climb a mountain. And then, like, the next day, they're like, oh my God, I should have done this instead. Like, I just wasted a day.
Right.
And now, so yeah, for you, how is that?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I've struggled with that. It's always been a struggle. Like, if I'm working on something and I don't see its success right away, or if I don't see its completion right away, I'm like, oh my God.
What's taking so long?
What's taking so long? Right. Or, oh my God, I finished this, but it's not getting the result that I wanted. What did I do wrong?
And you're your biggest judge.
Yes, you are. You really are. And one of the biggest things that I've been trying to adapt is actually enjoying the journey and not the end goal, because your end goal might fluctuate. It might change. So analogy or an explanation or something I can somewhat relate is, like, for example, fitness. I used to always be athletic, always was. And then junior year hit, and I'm not going to lie, I went through the worst self-confidence plummet ever because I was just sitting down. I kid you not. I was not doing physical activity. At best, maybe getting like 900 steps a day, like the bare minimum. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration, but literally the bare minimum. Like getting up, walking to my desk, walking to my car, walking to work, being in the work area, and then vice versa, going home. I was not being active whatsoever.
It's crazy how much fitness affects humans.
Hands down. Because it really, impacts, you know, your serotonin. It impacts your metabolism. That impacts your hormones. It impacts all of it. It impacts your mental health. You know, and you know, as a, like not a kid, but you know, you don't really recognize how important it is. Just being somewhat active.
Yeah, maybe that's why kids are so active.
No, facts.
I mean,
I'm like so
happy.
like happy. Yeah,
because
they're in the
so
moment.
active. Yeah,
They're in the present. They're active. They're doing it. And yeah, and because of that break, I honestly gained so much weight. And I was like, I couldn't fit into any of my clothes. I was like, this is so weird. I've never gained this much weight before. I can't even wear clothes that make me confident. So I was wearing baggy clothes all the time. And you know that, you know, that also like impacts, you know, your mental health. You know, that just makes you feel blah. So I was like really going through it. And it was so funny because each month I kept like being so hard on myself, being like, you haven't lost weight yet. Yeah, no shit. You haven't worked out. But I wouldn't tell myself you haven't worked out. I'm like, no, you haven't lost weight. Da 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 da. And I would try to like diet as I'm working, or I would try to like be active. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get thin again by tomorrow. No, that was not. No, that wasn't happening. So in the summer, I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna lose weight. No, that didn't happen because I was just so tired. I was so burnt out. So I was like, all right, so how am I going to do this? I get motivated, and that motivation lasts.
Yeah, motivation only lasts so long.
So long, right? It only lasts like, it's like a split second.
Yeah. Motivation without discipline is nothing.
Exactly. And so
fantasy.
That was the issue. I was just riding along with the feelings rather than the discipline. And I'm like, I can't be hard on myself and expect the results if I'm not putting in the work, right? Yeah. So, funny enough, this winter break, I was like, all right. I'm on my last straw. I really needed to discipline myself, especially in this world of fitness. And I reached out to my brother, who he honestly is like always to the gym, always like, no matter the rain, the snow, he will be at the gym. And I'm like,
do you think he's happy?
I think so. Yeah. I think he is. He is stressed about like other things in life, but at least he has that.
Do you see the gym as his oasis?
Correct. Hands down. If he's having a rough day, he'll go to the gym and let it out. Nice. If he's having a good day, all right. The gym is going to make it even better. The gym is honestly, I think, would be his, I wouldn't say safe space. I don't know that for sure. But it's definitely a place where he can socialize with friends, let off some steam, or just make a better day the best. Yeah. And so, you know, I was like, I have to now talk to my brother for advice. And now he's going to make fun of me for this. So whatever, he's my brother. I'll go ahead and ask. And I'm like, hey, listen, I've gotten a little fluffy. I need you to create a routine for me. And he was looked at me. He was all like smiley, like, I got you. And I'm like I've been crafting this. Like, right. So then he created the routine, and me being me, I decided to spice it up with like graphics and made a whole like workout routine for myself. Planned out my days, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And honestly, it's been working. I've been going to the gym every day. And instead of like in the past when I would go to the gym, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to see it right away. Nah. Instead of that, I'm not looking at the scales. I'm not counting my calories. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just doing the bare minimum. Get yourself through those doors, do some exercises, get out, and then see what happens in a month, 2 months, 3 months. And yeah, I've seen no change, but I feel the change. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, you won't get that instant gratification. Yeah. That's okay. Because honestly, what's better is feeling those little wins and being like, okay, I did that. Yeah. And they just start piling up.
Those private victories are really what gets you to like feel content with yourself.
Hands down.
Yeah, I think humans are made to have conflict and overcome it. Mm-hmm. Because, you know, if you're constantly being in pleasure per se, like eating junk food, which is the best, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure they put some sort of chemicals there to make it addictive.
Probably. Yeah.
So, you know, watching addictive like movies or stuff, there's a reason why I'm like thinking before I'm speaking.
I got you.
But there's a reason why Netflix is cheaper than like Audible, because it's more hooking to watch something than to listen to something.
Right.
And so those things, too many wins make you get soft. Yeah. Literally. quite literally for you.
Oh yeah, no, literally. Like I physically felt that. But
I'm thinking of Fluffy, like the comedian.
Yo, no, that's exactly who I was referencing. I love the word he used to describe himself, and I'm like, I like that. I'll take it. I'll take it. But yeah, no, it's that. I honestly, what was a perfect form of instant gratification? So when I was really low, I would try to, like during junior year, I would actually sacrifice sleep just to doom scroll on my phone. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm taking control of my time. I'm going to do what I want. I didn't want to scroll on my phone for hours.
You're just filling the void pretty much.
Right. And I was like, it's like, for example, the addiction with, let's say, social media. That's honestly like something that I have been dealing with because you start doom scrolling, you're just getting into the zone, and it was toxic for me because I was seeing so much like opportunity or possibilities for my life, and I just didn't have the resources or tools to accomplish them, and I just felt like shitty because I'm like, wow, look at this person, look at where they're at in their fitness journey, look at this person, look where they're at with their business, look at this person, look where they're at, when it comes to their creativity, what they can create, what they can do.
Start comparing yourself.
You start comparing yourself. And so you think that, you're watching them to learn, but at one point it goes from a healthy, like, I guess, resource to learn to a toxic, like, gateway to just, like, absolutely self-hatred. So it was just something that, I had to deal with, was, like, breaking that addiction because it was instant, gratification of, like, watching a video. Okay, next. It was no good. Because in long term, you felt shitty after. I mean, sure, literally. Anyone has been through it where they're just like, where did time go? Did I just doom scroll for an hour? And you just feel shitty about it afterwards.
And it's crazy when you look at the your screen time on your iPhone or your Samsung for you in your case.
My Android.
And you like really like, oh my god, I wasted this much time this week. Like those, if you know how they say like 10,000 hours like creates discipline and whatever master you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like throughout the year, I'm sure you reach 1,000.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah.
Maybe not 1,000, but like you
know what?
something crazy.
I think so. I'm like, because like if you think about it.
Oh my god, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if you think about it, how many hours? Let's say you do
2 hours.
Yeah.
That is, oh my god, that is over 700 hours right there.
Exactly. So like if you're doing more than 2 hours, which I'm sure there's people out there. I know I've been guilty of hitting almost like 5 hours on it. You can easily hit that number.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So like, looking back at my, screen time.
That's so scary.
Right. I look back and I'm like, at least I could have been napping during that time. Even if I wasn't being productive, I could have gotten some sleep.
That's energy. You can make more money with that. Even if if your investment into whatever task you're doing is not professional, it's still making you money. Right. Or you're doing something. You're spending family time.
Exactly. Spending time with family, being with your pet, going for a walk,
makes you
eating,
present.
The bare minimum. Exactly. Present.
Yeah.
Those 5 hours, you were not present. You were in another world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so crazy, dude. Because, you would prefer to be at least inside your mind.
Yep. You're not.
With yourself. Like, at least get in, be in the same room, but, like, be with yourself. Yep. Try to see if you can be content with yourself.
And it's a distraction.
It is.
You're not self-reflecting. You're just literally just like, oh, okay, reaction.
How many times have you like opened your phone and been like, oh, I'm gonna go into the notes app and like write this idea that I had, and then you open it and like it was already in Instagram or whatever, and you're like, oh, look at that, and then you're like, fuck, where did the idea go?
Right. I always tell people like, if there's one thing, it's to try to be present and try not to have distractions. Yeah. It's okay for you not to have that drive mentality and make the most of every minute, every hour of every day, but at least be present in those moments that like you're not doing anything.
Yes.
Meditation, chilling out with family, chilling out with friends. Yeah. Be with your pet if you have a pet.
Isn't that crazy how it's probably, we avoid the things that like make us afraid or whatever. Mm-hmm. So maybe like not being present makes us afraid of our own of our own present. Like it's a reflection of where we are in life at the moment.
One thing that I've struggled with and still struggle with is perfectionism.
Yes.
And I'm like, all right, I have these goals. I need to do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to achieve it. and then I don't want to start step 1 because I'm like, what if I don't do step 1 correctly?
Yeah.
I want this to be perfect. I'll start step 1 when I'm ready, right? And
Oh.
so
You become a
distract
hoarder
yourself.
of ideas.
yes, exactly. And I have been so guilty of that. And it was only, like I said, in the summer, it was honestly the turning point where I'm like, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. Like my business, I honestly don't know how to properly run the business. Let's start it. We'll learn as we go. Will I be hit with some fines maybe along the way? Maybe.
Maybe. It's only legal if you get caught.
Yeah, right. Right, exactly. But, I was like, let's just start it. We'll figure it out. I'll redesign, rebrand as we go. Fix up the website as we go. Figure out the contracts. Figure out the clientele. Figure out my target audience as we go. And that was honestly one of the biggest projects that I've been pushing off. Since like high school, I've dreamed of creating my own media production company. And I was like, no, there was never a right time. And I was like, there's no such thing as a right time. You just start.
Yeah.
And so the summer, I kind of just had this moment of being like, I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own thing. I want to create my own schedule. I want to create the platform that I've dreamed of.
Yeah.
Or dreamt of. And so let's just do it. Let's just start now.
Yeah. It's crazy how people wait till the end of the year to start going to the gym.
Yeah, no.
That is insane.
It's insane. If I kept pushing myself to go to the gym since, like I said, the summer. And if I didn't start in the summer pushing myself, I would probably be here in January, like still like, all right, let's start pushing myself. I would not be in the gym. You have to start that day or the next day. It doesn't matter when you start. Just start. If you feel the need, start.
Let's say you like you get hurt and like you break your arm. Do you go to the hospital the day that you break your arm, or do you wait till
the following day when maybe you'll be less busy at the hospital?
Yeah, no, you gotta go.
You gotta go.
Get your
Right.
ass up.
Yeah, because as corny as it sounds, tomorrow's not like tomorrow's not guaranteed, right?
That's
Shoot.
literally what it's just literally hanging by a string. So why don't you do it today?
Right.
Yeah.
And so I've honestly just started new hobbies. I call it side quests. I started a new side quest, and I was like,
Damn, you're the main character, huh?
you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. But yeah, I was like, let's just start this now. If I'm not good at it, it's okay. Like I started learning how to do oil painting last semester.
Yeah, I've been seeing that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. And you're actually pretty good at it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think I'm a beginner, but I appreciate that. But yeah, I've always loved the physical medium of art, and I wanted to know how to like paint professionally, and so I took a class. And compared to everyone else who actually were like visual arts majors, their talent through the roof.
Crazy.
And so you get that imposter syndrome going on, right? So I was like, oh man, oof, my stuff can't compare to them. And then I stepped back and I'm like, why does that matter? You're on your own path. Everyone's going at their own pace. And yeah, that was one of the first classes where I was okay with not being like the best or like at the top.
Oh.
I was okay with like looking like the little stick figure guy. That was okay. And yeah, I've just been like growing and learning as I go.
That's so crazy to find comfort in your own guilts, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I will say working at Apple is what helped me. The phrase that I use is help me be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was really an uncomfortable experience. I mean, going from someone that knows nothing about the company, knows nothing about retail, knows nothing about management, to having to learn all these different processes and
maybe that's why it
steps.
was good for you.
Yes.
Because you're literally a baby in that area.
Exactly. And so I think that everything has meaning in your life.
Yes.
Not everything's meant to last forever. And I've come to terms with like leaving a job. Like, do I miss the pay? Yes, I miss the pay.
Hire her.
Hands down.
Somebody
please no.
go fund her.
The GoFundMe.
Get her an iPhone.
Please no. But I feel like everything has a purpose. And do I regret working at Apple? Not at all. Was it stressful? Yes. Was that time period stressful? Yeah. But do I regret it? Nope. I've learned so much from that, and I'm not I wouldn't be who I am right now if I didn't go through that. Would I go through it again? No. I'm good.
Yeah.
Just once is great.
Yeah.
But I think that applies to everything. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah, you gotta be able to leverage your expensive losses and your cheap ones.
Yeah, and you just have to learn, or you just have to understand or accept that might have just been a learning curve, or an opportunity to understand not just certain skills but yourself. And so I really learned what I was capable of. How far can I push myself?
Yeah, you
And
grow character out of those situations.
hands down. I used to joke around my sophomore year about like, well, that was character building. Or it is what it is, right? That's character building.
Yeah, you. I actually say that word because of you.
Yeah,
Shout
it
out to
is
you.
what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would always say like, it is what it is, character building. And then I really had to apply it junior year. I was like, all right, it's for
It's
the
easy to
plot.
be the preacher.
Yeah.
But when it's time to actually do
No,
it.
yeah. It's for the plot, you know. It's one thing to say it, it's one thing to act on it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, that was just a whole experience in itself.
I'm curious, what's in store for the future for you? What are
Yeah.
you working on right now? Like,
I got you on that. I'm actually taking a more science route again.
okay.
You know, my life is fluctuating. It's like STEM girl, not farm. Okay, we're going back to STEM. So I'm actually going more
It's
the
good that you're
research
open
route.
to doing. Sorry.
No, you're good.
That you're
yeah.
open to doing like, to reflecting and like going back to it. It's like, okay, that's fine. You
Yeah.
know, I changed it, but you know, let's check it out
It's
again.
okay. I'd rather take the time to learn what I'm interested in or apply myself to as many things than regret not applying myself to those things and be like, but what if I really loved that?
Yeah.
I missed out my opportunity. So yeah, this semester, the class that I'm really looking forward to is a zoology course, or excuse me, a primatology course, but it's based in a turtle black zoo, which is really funny.
Yeah.
The class is like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. all day outside, and you get a species of your choice. I'll be researching a cheetah named Nandi at the turtle black zoo, and outside in the cold and the rain, you're just sitting there and you're watching the animal. And you're taking stats down, you're writing down. You don't want to leave your spot. You just want to sit there and you really just become, from what I understand, in peace with your species and you try to fully understand it. Yeah. And so that's one class that I'm taking that I'm really looking forward to. It's actually graduate level, so there's a lot more research and like writing and all that behind it.
So freaking amazing.
So cool, right? And I learned about that class because of the National Geographic professor, Courtney Burson, and she was like, when I reached out to her the beginning of the fall semester, I was like, yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in eventually working in like, you know, media or videography, photography for like companies such as National Geographic.
Yeah.
And she told me like the process of it. And I'm like, whoa, this is like a whole different, like, it's not like a regular like, oh, I'm trying to create a film. No, like,
Yeah.
the whole grant process, research project, all that, everything's like similar but different.
Yeah.
And so she was telling me like the things that you would really need to know or know how to do. And I was like, I'm more interested in the media aspect of it and the content creation aspect of it. Or as they say, like the creative side of it. But I think it would be beneficial to learn the research side of it. And so she spoke about that class and said, hey, well, you know, next semester, if you're still around, if you want to take this class, there's an undergrad level of it, there's a graduate level of it. You can take the graduate level as, you know, undergrad, like you can take graduate level classes with your undergrad tuition, save money, get those credits, and, you know, I will expect more work from you, but you will have more on your plate to learn.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's one of the classes that I'm like really looking forward to.
That humility is what has gotten you so many different areas in your expertise.
Yeah. And I literally told her like straight up, I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even know how to read like a scientific journal. Like, you kidding me? I don't even know how to read like a scholarly article properly. I don't even know how to research. Like, are you sure it's okay?
I don't even know how to read.
Yeah, no, like, what's 2 plus 2? But, so I told her straight up, like, I haven't taken like a science class aside from the marine one that I took like last year, junior year. I haven't taken a proper science class, biology, since literally high school. Can I take this class? And she's like, yep. We're learning. This class is, I want you to come in here knowing nothing. And I want you to leave knowing everything you need to know.
Wow. That's a great teacher. That's not a teacher. That's a mentor.
That is a mentor. And funny enough, I actually reached out to her to ask her for me to be her mentee. She was like, I'll do you one better. Come to my class. And actually, you know, get the credits for it and all that, but it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. So I was like, let's do it.
Dude, the cheetah, going back to that.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Dang.
Yeah.
That is such an incredible opportunity. How many people would wish to like learn the instincts of an animal that, dude, I think I've seen a cheetah 3 times in my life probably, and that's like a lot, I think.
Right. Yeah.
But like to be able to spend time with it and like grow like a connection with it. You know, animals are very smart. And so seeing you around, it's gonna feel comfortable with you, and I feel like the things that you're gonna see first are gonna be like more of him in like alert like mentality, but then as he eases down to you, he's gonna really show his true colors. And I feel like you're gonna kind of become like friends with him, and he's gonna become friends with you, or not friends, but like he's gonna feel,
he's gonna recognize, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, the cheetah Nandi, she's cool because she actually, since she was, are they called pups? I forget what they're called when they're like still young. Cubs.
I don't know.
I don't know if that's lines. But when they're young.
She doesn't know how to speak either.
English is my first language. I have to remind myself that. But Nandi the cheetah, she was essentially like raised in a lab, you know, since infancy. And so she is a specific cheetah that's meant to promote or advocate for I guess cheetah preservation, because, you know, they're, I don't know if they're officially endangered yet, but, you know, the species count is not where it used to be.
Wow.
And so she promotes that. And so, like, they walk Nandi on, like, a leash. Like, she goes to different educational opportunities to teach, like, kids or even adults, like,
wow,
this is a cheetah. Let's hope they stay around, you know, on this planet for the next couple of years. So Nandi's really cool. And Nandi has a friend named Bowie who is, like, a therapy dog. And so he actually plays with her in the exhibit. Yeah. And so my focus as of right now for the project is intercommunication with different species. Like, how does that work? And so, yeah, that's what I'll be researching this semester. Wow, even though I have no idea where to start, I'm going to start. And I'm going to see what I, like, discover.
Wow. What an opportunity that is.
Yeah. Oh, it's insane. And this, I will say, this semester is like, I'm really excited. It starts next week, and it's going to be cool because I'm taking a commercial photography course. So I learned the business side of, like, running my media company and how does it work, or how does it look in a studio? How do you set it up? How do you rent? All that. So that's one course I'm taking, the primatology course that I just told you about. I'm being a TA for one of my favorite professors on campus, is Francis Martinez. Literally, shout out to Frank. I had a class with him last semester, and I have learned so much about film equipment because of him. And just, like, other, like, basic life lessons, like taking it easy, taking it day by day. He's a huge advocate for that.
Yeah.
And also self-expression and creativity. Like, he's a huge advocate for that, which I feel like a lot of professors are like, okay, I want you to create this kind of film with this. And he's like, no, what do you want to do?
Sounds like Rick Rubin.
So, you know, shout out to Frank. I'll be his TA also next semester. And the other class that I'm taking is called On the Road. And it's more news, which I'm not going to lie, I'm a little scared of because I'm not a huge fan of news, the way it's formatted, because I've seen the world of news. But On the Road is more journalism based. And so this year, or this semester, we're going to Arizona during the spring break. And so before spring break, we have to kind of pitch and come up with stories based in Arizona. And there's just a bunch of segments. And they could be anything, literally anything you want. And then spring break, we film whatever we choose. And then after spring break, it's all post, edit. So I actually have a meeting this week to start pitching ideas. So the way it works is it's going to be like an Arizona package at the end of the semester. And then that package is sent for nominations. If I'm not mistaken, last year or 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, On the Road went to New Orleans, and the students there that created the packages, or the package I should say, with all the different stories, they ended up becoming Emmy winners, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, wow. They were Emmy winners.
That's crazy.
Before they graduated, Emmy winners. because they created like really strong work. And
Wow.
so I was like, this is an opportunity to really get back into production, but also learn one side of production I didn't know about, which was news. And the whole idea of package and different segments, I don't know that realm. So I was like, let's learn. This is the place to learn.
Yeah.
I feel like school is not the only place to make mistakes, but if you're in school, now's the time to make mistakes and learn from them. Because once you're at work, you'll be hopefully not reprimanded, but in some environments you will be. So now it's time to make mistakes, to be naive, to learn. But I honestly think you can always be like that, but not everyone is so welcoming like that.
I think
but
you said something really important that was trying out a lot of different things and that like stumbling. And I feel like a lot of people in college, they don't really do that. They don't get out of their comfort zone. They believe that like, well, I can't change my major now because like that will affect me later on. But if you were to look at people like you, for example, that like, dude, every time I talk to you, like you're doing something new.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
I don't know.
But I don't know. Whatever. Shout out to you.
It's a Gemini in me, I guess. I don't know. Bringing astrology into the
but and so people that are in college and don't do what you do, which is explore different routes and extend themselves, I feel like once they graduate, they're one thing too dependent on. And if that one thing fails, they're done for. Those 4 years or 6 years or however long you were in university or college, whatever, are gone.
Yeah.
If you can't get a job in that place, you're gone.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But if you're extending yourself and you're like trying to reach as far as you can in different areas with different people, you know, let's say the zoo place.
Yeah.
A zoo requires media.
Yeah.
Let's go with the hockey team.
Yeah.
They require media.
Right.
Let's go with the gym. A gym requires media. All these different areas can later on lead you to a job.
Exactly.
Or anything, even if it's not a job. What if, you know,
an opportunity arises, right?
Exactly. Your brother, you know, knew the contact to the place that you started going to. So those things are what really shape you. Yeah. And not feeling like you want to be in your comfort zone. When feeling like you want to stay in your comfort zone is setting yourself up for failure for the future.
Yeah.
And that's crazy that you actually do that. Do you think your mom shaped you that way? I know your mom is very outgoing.
Yes. Yeah. I would say
she's dope.
Yeah, she's cool. She's awesome.
No, she's the best.
Hands down. I got lucky. My mom, I think, definitely was the one that shaped me to just explore and to learn. She's always supported me, no matter what. Like, she's like, as long as you're not harming yourself or anyone, go for it. Yeah. And so, yeah, she's always the one that really spiked my curiosity with the world. I mean, from the stuff, like the media that she allowed me to consume growing up as like, you know, like a little kid, to the experiences she brought to me growing up. Like, I got lucky. Growing up, my mom would, you know, take time during the weekend to bring me and Isa outside of the apartment or outside of the house and explore. Go to a park, go to Home Depot and learn how to build something, you know, stuff like that, like little activities like that. And so because of that and because of the family that she built and the environment that she built around me and my brother, you know, we were meeting people from everywhere around the world. And I would hear their stories and I'd be like, well, that's cool. And they would tell me about what they do or their hobbies or all that. And so I was meeting so many people from so many different ways or walks of life. And I was like, I was a little kid. So to me as a kid, it was entertaining. But as an adult, you know, hearing all those different stories, hands down, shaped me to who I am, because I just learned that this person just started their career at the age of 45. This person made the biggest move of their life at the age of, like, I think it was like 50 something.
Yeah.
They are taking these huge leaps of faith because of a dream, because of a goal. And if they can do it, then something so minor as, I don't know, learning how to paint can be possible. Just rip off the Band-Aid. Go for it. So,
yeah. I agree. Yeah, dude. It's 100% true. It's, sheesh.
Yeah.
Left me thinking. Yeah. Yeah. It's very accurate, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, like going back to the, like I was saying about someone like moving here to the States, you know, with nothing else, you know, and they had to, right? My family, I'm first generation American. My father and my mother are immigrants.
Where are you from?
So my dad's from Turkey, and so he came to the States, I think, like in his 20s or something like that. And then my mom, on the other hand, she came to the States literally a year and a day old. So my mom was born June 2nd, 1969. She came here June 3rd, 1970. And my grandmother, on my mom's side, you know, she came with my mom from Cuba, literally with the clothes on her back, and that was pretty much it. My mom, that was it. And so I think to myself, how scary is that to go to a foreign country where you barely know the language, you have literally an infant with you, you have nothing with you, you're starting from scratch, and it's just you and your kid.
That is crazy. When you have a kid, it's not only your life that it's been affected.
Their life too. So I think of like my grandma's story, and I'm like, she did that. My dad's story, you know, back in 2019 in the summer, I had the opportunity to go to his country. I got an opportunity to go to Turkey, and I saw the house that he was raised in. It wasn't like it. Wouldn't even call it, you know, a safe home because it was literally made bare hands by his father and his family.
Wow.
And it was like rocks and cement.
Wow.
And it was like more than like 15 of them. It was like his siblings, which was like what, 10 of them, his parents, his uncle, his uncle's kids, all under one little roof. And it was just like one room, a bathroom, and like a kitchen. Wouldn't even call it that. There's like no electricity like that. And so I see where life has taken him. I've seen where life has taken my grandma and my mom, and how it's taken all my family, my aunts, my grandmother's sister, who I call my aunts, just all of them. And I'm like, if they can put themselves in those positions and each day they are willing to, you know, grow, I can too.
Makes appreciated a lot more.
Hands down. I think that my trip to Turkey was a huge eye-opener because I honestly didn't know much about my dad. He's pretty quiet. And so I didn't know much about his family and anything like that, or my family, I should say, from the Turkish side. And so I was like, wow. So I don't just have my Cuban side of the family to look on to motivate me. I also have my Turkish side of the family to look on to motivate me. So
that's beautiful, dude. Yeah. We in America don't realize how well we have it. How good, dude. Yeah. The amount of things that we have, like, how lucky are we to be the ones that choose our problems?
Yeah.
I was listening to Lex Friedman talk about that. Mm-hmm. He's like, isn't that just thinking about, like,
it's crazy.
We can choose our own problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, if we can be like, oh my God, I don't want the peanut butter sandwich. I wanted it with wheat bread and I have white bread.
Right.
Crazy. There's people out there literally going through war, like in Israel and Palestine. I was gonna say Pakistan, but I've been thinking of that country. Palestine, Ukraine, like Russia. You know, all these places that they don't have freedom the way that we have it.
Yeah.
You know, I was raised in Colombia. Mm-hmm. In Colombia, when we go, like, we can't wear like a necklace because, you know, it might get stolen.
Right.
Or a phone, like being able to walk outside with your phone in your hand. When I grew up, it wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm sure there's more freedoms, but here it's like, if somebody from here was to go to like a place like in PR, like, you know, certain like Calle 13, for example, like all these places, they would be much more appreciative, and they would definitely be more aware of where they focus their energy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. In fact, this reminds me of a conversation I had, and I remember this conversation because it was an intro to communications class, and it was my freshman year, and we were talking about, you know, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
And the benefit of it, you know, here in the States, and what does freedom of speech mean? What does censorship mean here in the States, especially with media? Because that's like a huge topic, right? Is censorship within media. How is it regulated? Should it be regulated, right? And, you know, people were, you know, obviously having their opinions and stuff like that. And my take on it was like, I'm super grateful for my freedom of speech. I can go on my phone and, you know, post my opinion on my story, or just be like, oh yeah, I did this today, or yeah, I support, you know, this soccer team, or something so minimal like that, right? People take for granted, because I think about the stories my grandmother told me, like in Cuba, the time that Fidel Castro was like at his reign, you know, and you didn't have that privilege of freedom of speech. You said something that was against him.
Yeah.
You knew what that meant for you. Prison, even death. So I think of those moments and I'm like, yeah, there's a lot that we take for granted of. And I think it's being able to recognize the problems that you create for yourself, right? Is recognizing those are the problems that you created for yourself.
Yeah.
And when you take that step back and come to that realization and you realize, don't take life so seriously to the point that you're like literally so down in the rut. If you take that step back, you can realign yourself. And I think that it was that mentality that got me through last year. It was like me being at work and being like, if I make a mistake, I'm going to be okay. It's okay. Even in school, like if I can't make that grade an A, maybe my mom will yell at me, but at least I know it's not the end of the world, right? Yeah, so it's just being able to recognize those things, like it's not that serious.
Yeah,
it's not. You are the one that's giving your life purpose. You're the one that is creating goals for yourself. You are the one giving yourself the to-do list. Are some of those things on those to-do lists meant for your survival, like make enough money to feed yourself or to have a roof over your head? Yes, I get it. But when it comes to like the other things, don't get so wrapped up.
Yeah.
Don't get so wrapped up in it. I know that with my business, for example, I was so stressed at like the rate it was growing was like nothing. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to do this. I'm stressed out. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? I'm slacking. I'm doing it. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's literally okay. When the time comes when when you start disciplining yourself, great. Don't burn yourself out. Don't overwork yourself. Don't overthink it.
Yeah. Trust your vision. You know,
Yes.
you gotta know what your vision is and then create a mission that surrounds it.
Yep.
And yeah.
Everything's connected. I mean, everything's connected. So like, if you can't take that first step today, who knows if tomorrow's little side shuffle connects to it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like, you know, shooting up that email.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, hands down. And it was crazy because, like, for example, with the Riveters, sending that email and then getting an internship with them. And then the following semester, I'm now, I continued my internship and they're like, oh, yeah, we're connected with Montclair State. And these are a bunch of other Montclair State students who are interning with us in all these departments. And I'm like, wait, there's more of us now? Like, there's more interns?
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. So it's those moments of, like, small world. It's literally small world. Take it day by day. Things will come to you. You take the action to achieve them, but if you can't take that step today, that's okay. Eventually, you will be able to.
Yeah.
So.
I was thinking about the freedom of speech thing, and like in social media, for example, like how does freedom of speech work, right?
Yeah.
You know, you have the thing with Twitter, for example, where they were like removing tweets from certain people just because they felt like it was politically leaning and like affecting whatever. And so they decided to remove or block certain people and, you know, whatever. But that would be muting someone.
Yeah.
But it can also be protecting people. So it can be seen both ways. You look at Instagram, for example, and there's a lot of ads of violence or nudity or whatever.
Right.
And, you know, you would say, well, I don't want to see that. Why is the algorithm putting that in my feed? But isn't that also freedom of speech?
Right.
You know, you're just doing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is actually the conversation we had in regards to censorship in media back in my intro to comm. And me personally, I think that that's why it's so important that people have access to education. Because if you, the individual, learn how to strive for the true facts, strive for backed up information. To me, education isn't just like science, biology, da-da-da. I mean, like, learning actual important fundamentals, like research. I feel like research is super important. You want to know about something, you need to know how to research. Because you can pull up an article and who knows who that's written by. Is that fact checked? Is that actually, like, accurate information? Education, I think, also includes, like I said, necessities, like learning how to cook, learning how to, I don't know, finance, learning how to... I think it's education to me is more so the things that are going to help you propel in life or grow.
Yeah.
It doesn't just have to limit yourself to like your math, your science, your literature. Those are all important. Don't get me wrong. I think that, was a quadratic formula. I don't use it right now. Was that important?
Maybe.
Maybe. Because now I had access to it and I decided, you know what? I don't want to pursue that. But who knows if someone's like, the quadratic formula, that's my future. I want to do something in math, right? So I don't think education should just be limited to the necessities. I really do think the fundamental cores that we're learning like in school are important. But yeah, I feel like people having access to just those things, whether it's, like I said before, learning how to research, having access to the arts, math, science, literature, all that, and as well as like basic like necessities, fundamental things that you need, like learning how to cook, financially literate, all that. I think that's what education should be.
That's crazy. A lot of people. I'm a college dropout. You're not a college dropout.
Yeah.
But I think you're approaching university the way you should approach life.
Yeah.
Not by striving to pass the test, but
Right.
by striving to fail it.
Yep.
In a way.
Yeah.
And so, isn't that life? You know, you fail,
Mhm.
win, fail, win.
Right.
And right now, it seems like you're doing better than someone that would be in a one-way major road.
Mhm.
They could just win, pass the next exam, pass the next exam,
Right. Just focus
pass
on the
all
class.
of them,
Yeah.
and eventually, you'll graduate, and
And then what happens?
success.
Yeah.
But then, what if 5 years after, you're like, oh man, maybe this wasn't the career that I wanted.
Right. Yeah.
And so it's because they took on that challenge the way that the structure is set.
Yeah, I feel like education shouldn't be an institute for you to get an award. I
Yeah.
think education should be a tool. And
Yeah.
it should be a tool for you to use and you determine what to do with that tool. The biggest thing I feel like in our education system, whether it's high school or, K through 12 and university, is a lot of people just see it as an institution to get the diploma, get the degree, get the award, get the certificate, rather than a tool to learn more about yourself, what you're capable of, your interests, what you want to do in the future, even if you can't do it right now. It's a tool. It's not somewhere for you to be congratulated. Sure, that can come along the way. But if people just look at university as a place just to get a degree, then that's all it's going to be. You're just going to get a degree. What does a paper mean to you then? If there's no meaning that you, once again, tying back to our previous conversation, what is the meaning of the paper then? What was it all for? You have to put that meaning on there, if you want to, that is. But you should want to put meaning towards it. Because then, at the end of the day, if you just have a paper, okay, what then? What are you going to do now? Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that, going back to the conversation of, censorship in media, I do think that people should have access to education so that they know how to approach certain topics. Because I believe people should have freedom of speech. I believe that, there shouldn't be censorship in certain spaces. Obviously censorship, like if it's government funded, obviously, stuff like that, censorship is okay. Or if like kids, all that, understandable. But like in a platform like social media, I think that certain censorship, like someone stating their opinion, it should be allowed. And it's for you to decide how you're going to process that information.
Yeah.
Will you then go and figure out, okay, why do they think this? What facts do they have that back up their opinion or what they are saying is true, right?
I mean, you logging into the certain app already gives you, like, you accept the terms and conditions.
Correct. Yeah.
So you should be open-minded with whatever goes on within the app.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't complain it because you're agreeing to it before.
Yeah. At the end of the day, like Twitter or X as they call it now, Instagram, Facebook, they're just social media platforms. They're not news. But what's really scary is the fact that I learned was that 1/3 of the United States population use Facebook as a news outlet. And I'm like,
that is scary.
that is terrifying because that's not backed up by facts. Will there be some bits of information on those platforms that is factual? Yes, I'm sure there might be.
Yeah.
But how do you know which one is which?
Yes.
So that's why I really think that giving the power to the people to know when to recognize or learn how to really analyze certain things and understand, okay, is this real? Then it's okay for there to not be censorship.
Yeah, I agree.
Because, fake news is everywhere.
It is everywhere.
It is everywhere. I can write the craziest headline on my Instagram and someone might be like, oh my God, when did that happen? how did that happen? Who did? And I'd be like, oh, I literally just came up with it just now. I just wanted like clickbait. I just wanted the views.
Yeah.
I could easily do that.
Super easy.
Yeah.
All it requires is for you to have a good following.
Yeah.
And then anything can happen. Look at the Trump thing with raiding the White House.
Yeah. No, literally. No, literally.
Or like the case in that thing going to New York. Mm-hmm. Like if you're someone of influence and you make a post, that's it. You have so much power over everything.
And anyone could be an influencer. Even if your following is 50 people. If those 50 people really trust you and you're like, hey, you should do this for this.
That's a mob.
Yeah, you already got a whole posse. Like, you know how crazy that is? So I always look at it like that. Like, I wish people had those resources or had that knowledge or capability so that we wouldn't be facing, I guarantee, 80% of the problems we have on a local or a daily basis would be minimized or diminished.
I agree.
If we, provided those resources.
Yeah, that's what this podcast. That's what I want to do, is to have like people that have already done it, and have already, or maybe not have, because a lot of them are young. Right. But it seems like they're like content with their previous choices. So in that way, I guess that's a success. Yeah. So have them talk and like let others that haven't experienced that be like, okay, use it as an affirmation that they're on the right path. Right. Or if they're not, then to correct it before it's too late.
Right. Yeah. Hands down.
Yeah, dude. I wanna, before, this is way back, like at the start of the combo, but like in Apple, I don't know if you saw, but like the Pro Vision is coming out. Yeah. How do you feel about like that for the future?
I honestly.
Do you have plugs? I'm trying to use it.
No, I wish I did. I wish I did. I would be able to get my iPhone, but anyways.
You probably had discounts too.
Honestly, it wasn't even that great. But it's at least better than nothing. But yeah, how do I feel about it? My roommate actually didn't get it, obviously, because it's not out yet. At least it's not out yet, right?
It goes on sale, I think, February 2nd. Okay,
yeah. See, worked at Apple, I still don't know. So my roommate, she actually got a VR headset. It was actually Meta, the Meta ones. Yeah. They were like number 2 or something like that. And that was like the second time of me trying out, a VR headset. And I thought it was cool. Like, I could see how easy it is to get lost in that world and like lose time. Like how we talked before about, not being in the present.
It's crazy how they try to create a world within our world.
Yeah. I was playing, what was the game that it was called Job Simulator, yes. Oh. And so this game was like, you're human, you're like one of the only humans left in this robotic world, and it's run by robots, and you're doing basic work, like you're a mechanic, you're a store clerk or a store attendant. And I was playing it, and like time was flying, and it didn't feel like I was in my room. Like we were literally in my dorm room, and you are so immersed in this digitized world that's around you, you kind of forget, oh my God, wait, I'm actually human, and I'm actually in a room right now. I could easily like walk into my bed and like fall back, And I think that the VR headsets in general are cool. I think that they could be a cool tool for certain, fields, or even just for fun. I think it's okay to have that as like, play. I think play is really vital, but it's all about the amount. It's all about how you use it and how much access you have to it, or how much or how much it takes over your life, right? Yes. So like, I think it is a really cool resource, and it is a really cool tool, but just like your phone,
it's a two-edged sword.
Yeah. You just have to find discipline. You need to have discipline with those tools.
Yeah. Do you believe discipline is real?
What do you mean by real? What do you mean?
Like, do you think it is a real thing that you can like actually like do consistently when nobody's watching, when it's just you in the room? Or do you think it's more like awareness of the wealth that it'll provide to you?
That's an interesting question. I don't think discipline necessarily means constant consistency. I think that there's sometimes going to be like, you're going to have a day off, a week off, even a month off. I think discipline is more so having a goal in mind and actively acting towards it, and when I say actively acting towards it, I don't mean it every day. I mean going towards a goal and acting on it at least once a year. I think that's discipline.
So it's more for you. I think what I'm getting is it's more about the intent.
Correct. Yes. I think discipline is intention. Discipline,
I like that.
yeah, discipline can be as simple as I'm creating a gym routine this week. I'm going to try to stick to it. Not going to try to it. The goal is to stick to it. And if I fall off a few days, that's okay. As long as I get up the next day and actually go for it, that's discipline.
Yeah.
That's what I see it.
I think to the world, people see you like if you tell yourself, okay, I'm gonna start going to the gym, and then like they see you that you don't go like let's say 2 days in a row.
Right.
They're like, oh, you already failed.
Yeah. No,
It's like no.
not at all.
Yeah, it's like I'm here for the long term, and
Yeah.
that's people that are like thinking of the short term mentality.
Yep, that instant gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's okay to have your off days or those off moments throughout your day. Like yesterday, I was busy nonstop. Today, I was like, all right, let me take a breather.
Yeah.
That's okay. I'm still going to achieve my goals. Whether I achieve all of them in one day or whether I achieve them at the end of the week or at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I think as long as you have that intent or that goal in the back of your head and you know or at the back of your mind, I should say, and you know that you're actually striving to achieve it, that is discipline. That is intent. So
Yes, I agree. And you should like how easy is it to focus on like the bad things? And
too easy.
it is extremely
Your
easy.
mind automatically goes that way. It shouldn't.
Yeah, do you
It really
think
shouldn't.
I think that's the part of like humans that it's like the sin.
Yeah.
It's like in the Bible, I think the Bible it's a good rule book, and
Mhm.
it's like that is part of what is within us. I don't think humans are good. I think humans are bad because we would rather watch somebody get hurt and like laugh at it rather than like be there to like help them get up after.
Right, right.
Like you're too busy laughing, and it's like
You're
that's
like,
normal.
yo, get up, right?
Yeah.
I think as the Bible said, humans are flawed. It's a fact, but it's our flaws that give us the room to grow and give us the room to explore. Because if we weren't flawed, then we'd just be a perfect being, and then what?
Yeah.
What does that mean? I think having those flaws is what determines or separates one from another. Who is someone that's trying to correct those flaws, and who is someone that's indulging in them? And by having that basis, you can see who's who, right? You can see who's willing to do what, who's willing to be uncomfortable and change their flawed ways, right? So, yeah, I think that it's okay to have flaws. I think that that basis it allows you to grow. I mean, you're never satisfied. Name me one day or a week that you were satisfied the entire week.
Yeah.
In all aspects of your life, were you satisfied an entire week?
Yeah, it's your perspective towards things that really define if you're happy or not.
Yeah. And I think that if you can achieve that, where you're satisfied with all aspects of your life in 1 week, you're winning at life.
Yeah, it definitely goes to show that happiness is a choice.
Yeah. You have to just really find what it means to be content. What does that mean for you? Like, a long day just happened. What were your wins? Are you content with your wins despite maybe some of the losses you encountered? And if you say yes, cool. Let's try to do that tomorrow and the following day.
Yeah. And if you say no, then you can reflect on it and fix it.
Right. Yeah, you could either do that. You could either say no, let's see where I went not wrong, but let's see where I can do to improve or what I can do to improve. Or the other, which you shouldn't be doing, but sulking in that and then be like, oh, I wasted a day or I did this. And then tomorrow it's the same thing. It becomes a pattern of like.
Yeah. I love how you
correct
yourself when you say like a failure or like you could have done better.
Right.
And that's really dope because that's like the power of words.
Yeah.
Like I failed. No, I'm gonna do better. It's like
right.
The power of your mind is crazy. And if hearing that, I don't know if you've read the 4 Agreements.
I have not actually. No.
Okay, I'll recommend it to you.
Okay,
But,
I gotta check it out.
But it's like the power of your parents over you when you're a child. Like it'll give that example of a little girl that's singing, and then the mom is like she gets home from work, and then she's tired, she's hungry, and like she's like, "Yo, can you stop singing? Like you don't even sing like good. Like please stop." And then that child grows up like feeling shy,
Yeah.
like it doesn't want to talk to anybody now,
Yeah.
and that's the power of words. So that was really cool. It's like it fell into like yeah. I think that goes to show the resilience
Yeah.
and like the character that you've built.
My
'Cause a
mom,
lot of people say, "Oh my God, I hate myself."
right?
Like, yo, no,
No, don't say that.
no,
You will
yeah.
believe it. My mom, I'm not gonna lie. I used to be those people that would joke around like that, and my mom would be like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "I was just making a joke." She's like, "That's not a joke." I'm like, "What do you mean it's not a joke? I was just joking." She's like, "Mm-mm. Your body, your soul hears those words and then manifests it into reality." My mom is all about affirmation and manifestation and speaking your truth and turning it into your present, turning it into your future. And she's like, don't talk down on yourself. Don't talk down on your peers around you. Don't talk down on anyone. Speak highly. Speak positively. Yeah, you're going to have some down days. Yeah, you can let out some frustration. But don't make that a habit. Don't make the negativity and saying the negativity out loud a habit. Because if you keep hearing it, you will start believing it, right? And that can apply both ways. You keep hearing the bad, you'll start believing the bad, and the bad will start showing.
Yeah.
You keep hearing the good, you'll start seeing the good, and the good will start happening. It can go both ways.
Yeah.
And that rule of thumb, honestly, game changer. Obviously I'm not perfect. There'll be days where I'm talking down on myself or the way things are going. That's okay. But as long as I know, okay, whoa. Why am I getting negative all of a sudden, And then trying to find the positive. If not trying to find the positive, at least find the neutral.
Yeah.
Find where I'm comfortable with. At least I'm not sinking. I'm not falling.
Yeah.
At least I'm floating, right? It's okay if you're not climbing all the time.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
Yeah.
Sheesh. It's beautiful. Yeah, if you don't believe in yourself, then who else will?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like selling a product.
Literally.
You're like, yo, buy this. And if
Right.
you're like, it's ugly, it's fat, it's whatever,
Right.
it's like,
Oh,
do you think you would want to buy it?
yeah, no, right. Right. I mean, think about the people you want in your circle, you want in your bubble, you want in your environment. Think about those people and describe them to me. What are the adjectives you have? Can you apply those adjectives to yourself? I mean, you want to be in an environment where people are growing or at least trying to grow, right? You're trying to be an environment that's happy. You're trying to be an environment that's extroverted, outgoing, adventurous. Okay, and here you are talking about yourself like you're just a bag of potato chips thrown to the side. What? Like,
Your
well,
Doritos.
yeah, not even. You're like
Your
moldy.
Pringles.
Literally, you're just like moldy Pringles that have been left in the can for like 2 years in a shed somewhere. Like, what?
Yeah.
Nah, like, I think that you really have to find, once again, that balance between, having those off days and having those moments where you are talking down on yourself, but being able to catch yourself is what's important. Like,
Yes.
you can have those moments, but being able to be like, to recognize, whoa,
That's where discipline comes in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's not sink into that.
Yeah.
What can we do?
Yeah. I love how you brought up like your friend group.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is very, very important.
Hands down.
Your closest 5 people are who define you.
Yes. I think that a lot of people underestimate that power. If you're with friends who are constantly shutting you down, saying, "Oh, you're dumb," like even if they're joking, like, "Oh, you dumbass, you idiot," da, da, da. You have friends that are constantly saying that about you, or constantly diminishing you, or making fun of you. You're gonna feel like shit. Your confidence is gonna like be at an all-time low in the dumpster. Call it a day. It's gone. Because that's all you keep hearing about yourself. If other people are saying that about you, then it must be true because that's what you're hearing. So if you're around an environment, or even if they're not saying negative things about you, let's say they're just doing their own thing and they're saying negative things about them, you're like, wow, I'm not really, how am I a good friend? I'm like letting my friend be like this. And then you start feeling shitty. You take it personally because at the end of the day, humans are selfish and we're going to take everything personally. Even if it's not our fault that they're feeling shitty or they're the way they are, you're going to take it personally because that's just how we are. And so I think that your environment is really important. Like, it's okay for your friends to have a down day or anything like that, but like for them to constantly be hating on you, or for them to constantly make fun of you, or for them to like be the type of people that don't match your energy, you will start matching their energy eventually.
Yeah.
So if you want change and you want people who, I don't know, are, you know, not more positive, because not everyone's just hippity dippity every day.
Yeah.
But if you want a way of life where you are working towards progress, find those people who are working towards progress.
I've seen a lot of people that have struggled in their life a lot, unfortunately, or fortunately, because it has built their character.
Right.
But they're some of the happiest people I've seen, and like compared to certain people that have great jobs, that have food on the table every day.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, it feels like your lives are kind of the opposite.
Yeah.
And I feel like that really builds your character.
Yeah.
Those situations get you out of that complacency and that spoiled. That's really what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I mean, you don't want to, how do I say this? When you're connecting with people who, I don't even make the distinction between friends and family. I feel like at one point your friends are family.
Yes.
They are the people that you will eventually call family. Family doesn't mean just necessarily blood, because I promise you there's family that may be blood related to you, but they're not family. That's not what family is, right? And so when you start forming that environment, or you start building off of the environment that was given to you as you grew up, or as you grow up, or you continue growing up, you get to decide who you're surrounded with. And at the end of the day, you're the one that's choosing who's around you. So choose wisely.
That's a beautiful thing that you're in control.
Yeah.
How many other things are you really in control in this world?
Yeah. And I know, like, coming from, like, let's say a Latino background, you know, family's so big, right? Like, that's your uncle. Treat him with respect. Da-da-da. Well, if he's not treating me with respect, what do I owe him the pleasure? Like, I don't care if he's blood related. Like, no, I'm not taking that toxicity around me. Like, no, thank you. You know, like, set boundaries. You have that ability. Easier said than done. Trust me, I get that. Because, you know, your grandma might give you the cocotazo for that. But, like, you have the power to, you know, like, especially as an adult. You know, when you're a kid, you're still super dependent.
Yes.
But if you are an adult and you have the power or the ability to be independent and make your own choices, then you have the power to decide what boundaries to set up and who to accept into your life.
Yes.
Because when you're a kid, I mean, family, the people that are brought to you are usually not
That's
your
all you
choice.
know, pretty much.
Yeah. But when you're older, you have the ability to reach out and find those people, or connect with the ones further that are already in your circle.
Yeah. Or even cut out.
Yep. Hands down.
Yeah. A lot of people don't outgrow their high school friends. Mm-hmm. And it could be good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to relationships, it doesn't matter the type, whether it's platonic or not platonic or what have you. Any type of relationship, even if it's at stranger level, acquaintance level, I think that certain relationships last for a reason. Just like experiences, work, school, learning opportunities, just like that, relationships have the same ideology of they are there in your life for a reason, and they started and ended when they needed to. You're going to have people in your life that are not always going to be there, right?
Yeah.
But they were meant to be there for a reason. All right, let's figure out what that reason was. Let's look back at it. Instead of regretting, let's say, a friendship with someone, like let's say you stop being friends with someone, right? You had a really bad fallout. Instead of regretting that friendship, think about the good memories and think about also the bad memories. What did you learn from both? What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? And from there, you learn, okay, this is what I look for in someone. This is what I don't look for in someone. And these are the experiences that I want with people. These are experiences I don't want with people, right? So I think certain relationships, you know, are meant to last based off of how you decide how long that's going to last, or how they decide.
It's always about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It all boils down to that.
Yeah.
Outside to be able to go out and look for people to connect with, and inside to be able to be out of your comfort zone in order to challenge your brain and to go into those dark areas that most people don't like to go to.
I mean, I'm starting to get better, but I'm a people pleaser to the max. I'm trying to make anyone I've connected with happy and make them, okay. And even if they're stepping over my comfort zone, I'm like, okay, it is what it is. I'm trying to stop that because at the end of the day, it's learning how to be comfortable with doing those uncomfortable things, such as speaking up about how someone's treating you. Like, if you really care about that person in your life, right? And they're not doing, or they're repetitively doing something that you don't like, it's learning how to be comfortable to approach them and be like, hey, you're doing this. It's making me feel like this. I want you in my life. I'm willing to put in the work to work on this relationship. Something like that, so stressful. I still go through that every day. Learning how to find that courage, and if not find the courage, be willing to take the first step. Because if you truly care about someone and maybe right now you're going through a rough patch or something like that, you don't necessarily have to cut them out. It's more of, are they worth your time and effort? And will they show that they are also putting in the time and effort to maintain that relationship? That honestly is how I determine whether the relationship is worth growing or, okay, it ends here. Or who knows, it'll come back later on in life, right? So, yeah, I think everything has a time and place.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, I feel like it goes with anything. Like, things eventually come back. I mean, we ended up not seeing each other in person, like, how long it's been, right? And we had our own lives. We did our own things. But somehow, with time, you gravitate. The people you want in your life, they will come.
My friend uses this term. I'm sure you've heard it before, but I had never heard it. And it's like you have two types of friends: succulents and cacti.
I've actually never heard of that phrase.
And so the succulents are the ones that are constantly needing water.
Mm.
So you gotta water them every day. Hey, good morning. How are you? And like things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But cactus are like you water them once a month. You check up on them once a month, and everything is like it's never changed.
Never changed.
Yeah,
that's so true. I tend to be the friend that's like the cactus. I'm not gonna lie. I tend to be very like self-driven at times, and I forget to like socialize or catch up with people, and that can be very off-putting for people who are not used to that. I know people who are like, I need to hang out with you at least like once a month to know you're alive and well, and I'm one of those people that's like, shoot me a meme via Instagram and I know you're okay, and I know that I care about you, you care about me, we're good. So I'm very like, I guess, hands off or laid back in that sense, and so I know that doesn't work for everyone, and so I really try to figure out, okay, who in my life that doesn't appreciate that? How can I maintain the relationship, break my habits, and maintain the relationship? And then also the people who are okay with what I like, my way of friendship, like finding those people and being like, hey, we see each other, we're good, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people don't realize that like I know there's the saying that's like if you don't text back, it's not because like you're busy and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh no, like if you text a girl and then you're like, oh, she's probably busy.
Right.
And then your friends are like, nah, bro, she's not busy.
Right.
But I think to me, in a sense, I might not be busy physically, but like my mind is somewhere else.
Yes.
So I will read the message and like it's like I'm on autopilot. Like I read it and I'm like thinking of something and then I'm like, oh.
And then you forget to reply.
Yeah, and then I just completely forget.
And then like a week later, you're like, oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
That has happened so many times. I mean, all the time for me. And I'm like, I am so sorry. I feel like a terrible person. I'm not trying to lose, our connection. I'm not trying to break it. I just have a really bad habit of like not following up, right? Because I feel like we're all in our head, we're all in our little world, and sometimes we get lost in it. Yeah. So
you know what I really hate personally? When they call me out on that. It's like, yo, why do you need the affirmation that like we're still cool? It's like,
right.
Isn't like me not like coming after you enough?
Right.
We're cool, I promise, I swear.
Right.
And yeah, that's something I've been struggling with a lot lately.
Yeah, the friendships that I've had since literally like elementary school, middle school, high school, are the ones where they understood my love essentially, from a friendship point of view, and they accepted that. And if someone doesn't accept it, that's okay. Then that's just not a relationship that you are willing to maintain. That's okay. If they're not willing to maintain that, that's okay. Um, but yeah, I got blessed that I had friends that were like, oh, okay, I can reach out to you like once a year or once every other year, and we know we're good. And then you can just reach out to me and be like, hey, let's go on a camping trip, and they're okay with it.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome. And I've been blessed that I've been able to make those friends and find those people where I could be like, hey, what are you up to today? And they're like,
Yeah.
what? Oh, I haven't heard from you in like months. I'm like, oh, yeah, so what do you want to do? And they're like, oh, yeah, what do you want to do? And we pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I think those are really your real friends. The ones that will pick up and be like, okay, I'll be there. Even if you haven't seen them. It's like, because there's no exchange. There's no trade.
Yeah.
People earn their trust by trading.
Yeah.
But if that trust is already built upon and nothing has broken it, then you're good.
Yeah, there's what my friend Logan, for example, we became friends in middle school in 8th grade, and then she went on to a different high school. She went to a private high school, an all-girls school, and I went to a public school. And so we went from seeing each other pretty much every day to not seeing each other at all. And I knew just from her vibe, from her character, I was like, that's a friend I want to have. And so I'd reach out to her every summer that we had to have a barbecue, and I'd be like, hey, it's that time of the year again. You free? And she'd be like, yeah. And so, we'd see each other maybe like once or twice each summer in high school. And then the summer into college, we finally had the time to like constantly hang out. And she's like one of, if not like, she's like my, like another best friend that I do you know how lucky it is to have not numerous, but like best friends, like plural? Yeah. Like what? Like, and I don't just have one, I have a good handful. And she's one of them. And she was one of those friends that like, she was okay with the fact that, she understood that we had busy lives during high school and we couldn't hang out like that. It wasn't as easy. We didn't have the resources. Like we couldn't just drive to see each other, stuff like that. So, she's one of those friends that I realized, oh, this is a friendship that I can handle, because like I don't have to like really force myself, because at one point it feels like a chore if you're forcing yourself to hang out with someone.
That's something that's going on now, like we're in the time that we live in, where everything is so accessible that you start believing that you have access to that person's life.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, you gotta realize that you gotta separate reality from the internet, from a screen.
Yeah.
That I'm posting doesn't mean that I'm accessible to you at this moment.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes maybe you're mentally blocked, maybe sometimes you're physically blocked, and like that photo that you posted could have been a memory or like something else.
Something from like a year ago.
Yeah, you never know.
Right. Yeah. And so I don't know. I feel like just like anything in life, friendships is something that you will continue to work on all the time.
Yeah. What's a motto that you live by?
A motive?
No, a motto.
Oh, a motto.
Yeah, motto. There you go.
Oh, honestly, I don't know. I don't have a motto. As funny as that sounds.
I will give you one. It is what it is.
It honestly,
that is literally it.
That is facts. That is facts. It is what it is. Sophomore year made that joke, and it's a fact. Honestly, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You're right. That is the motto that I live by, because after a long day and I'm like, oh man, did I accomplish everything I needed to do? No, it is what it is. I'm gonna continue tomorrow. Oh, I made a mistake on a task I was supposed to do. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's okay. You're right. That is my motto. I do live by that.
Yeah, I think you do. I really do.
There's a book though that I've been reading. I finally finished reading, and I'm not. You're gonna kill me, but it's taken me like, God, I think like 2-3 years to finish reading. I'm not the best at reading.
Listen to it.
I know, and I just get so distracted. Like I can't do audiobooks. I tried it.
I think you can, because you do it in times where you're automatic.
Okay. Because
like
I think that was the issue. It was like I was just doing it, and I was just like sitting, and I was like, all right, let me take notes as I listen, and then my mind would wander somewhere else, and I'm like, wait, what did they just say? And I kept replaying every 10 seconds. I'm like, oh, I can't get this. Throws my headphones across. Don't play.
Think of it as a conversation.
Right.
Like
that's a good idea.
We're conversating, but everything that gets pointed out that I say or that you say, it could have been a different branch. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good way to look at it. I'm gonna have to approach that again, because it took me too long to read this book.
What book is it?
It was The Alchemist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I literally finally finished reading it last night. And honestly, it is the first book in a long time, obviously, that I really connected with. That book is all about, the soul of the world, the language of the world, the language of God. Like everything is one. And that book really just kind of allowed me to, find my personal legend, as they say in the book, right? And it said that, like you have your personal legend and your heart will speak it to reality as long as you follow your heart. Accept the fear, but overcome the fear and keep striving for what you want. Listen to your heart carefully. Listen to your environment carefully, because who knows, your environment might be telling you things that you didn't know, and that is you. And so, yeah, The Alchemist, I just finished it last night, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I would recommend the book.
We're really animals. We have
Yeah.
that instinct, and I think that's what intuition is.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was learning in my marine science class was like how we are all stardust. As like little hippie as that sound, we are literally all stardust. We're all the same atoms. We're recycled atoms. Who knows if like my thumb was once a that's an exaggeration, but like what I'm saying. But yeah, we're all one. And when you really, as hippy dippy as that sounds, but if you really start listening to your surroundings and grounding yourself, and I don't know, like a lot can be said in the silence. I think that's something that I would ignore. I'd be like, okay, I need to like overstimulate myself with watching all this or listening to all this music or hearing all this. Sometimes you just gotta like sit in the silence, and it will tell you more than you can imagine.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna recommend a book to you.
Okay.
Not the Four Agreements. I think you will like this one more. It's called Tuesdays with Maury.
Okay.
It's about, think about it as a document.
Okay.
Like a documentary, actually. This man, an older gentleman, he's dying. He's diagnosed with this disease. And this younger gentleman was his student back in college. And so he finds out that the teacher is dying, and he decides to visit him and to record the conversations and to learn what the man has learned throughout his years. And pretty much he goes through all the lessons that he has learned throughout his life, like everything. Friendships, relationships, career, goals, death, life, everything. And it's just a bunch of stories and like just his anecdotes. It's a very beautiful book, and it's
cool.
based on a true story.
Oh, cool. So it's like a nonfiction. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to have to give it a read then. Or
listen to
I'll
it.
listen to it.
Yeah. It's on YouTube. You can get it for free.
Oh, cool.
Allegedly.
Allegedly is crazy. But like it's for free, depending on your resources.
Yeah.
But it's okay. Yeah. It's okay.
I'll send you my referral.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
And yeah, dude. I mean,
Okay,
I
cool.
think honestly, I think that's it because we're honestly out of time.
Yeah.
But this is great, dude. I'm really happy because yeah, the two people that have been in the podcast so far are people that I see very often.
Okay, gotcha.
And so, even though I consider you a close friend,
Yeah.
it's like it's someone that I don't see as often.
Yeah. No,
And it's
literally.
like, I was like thinking, like, will this work out? And like this was a real test right now.
Yeah.
Because you gotta adapt to certain people and to their needs, and it's like, okay,
Right.
how do you go about that? And like just having the confidence to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, well, let's see what happens.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I appreciate it, though. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, I am so happy
podcast.
you were here. I think
appreciate you.
I think you were the first like person, like aside from those two people, to like actually genuinely like test it.
Okay,
Because
gotcha,
I feel like you were the person that inspired me throughout college, which was when I was like
Appreciate
finding
that.
myself.
Thank you.
And I think I've told you that before, but like you always constantly like looking for something, and I feel like, wow, I gotta get up.
I gotta get up and do something.
Yeah, how has this person already done so much in a day, and like I haven't? And
Do
like
you
it's
know
yeah.
What's so sorry to cut you off. You know what's so crazy? I see what you post on like Instagram, and I'm like, dude is achieving so much. Like, I don't think you understand that you in itself, what I've seen you done with like production or within the studios, I always thought that was inspirational. I'd be like telling my friends, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a friend who's already like doing all this content and creating, and he's like going to concerts, for example, and doing photographs. He's meeting all these artists, doing this and this. And he took the chance of not being in school, and he's thriving. Like, this is an example of someone who doesn't need to be in a classic traditional institute and can succeed. And people don't realize that because we're fed to think that we have to go to school. And I'm not gonna lie, like, I saw your success and I continue seeing your success, and I'm like, I want to be like that because I see that you took that leap of faith and you're doing it. And
Thank you.
I think you need to recognize that sometimes is like, you look up to people, but people look up to you. So it's really funny you saying that. Like, you saw me and my progress, and I'm like here like, I want to be you. You're here like actually creating productions. You're here going to studios. You're here working with artists, collaborating with so many different creatives from all across the media industry. You don't limit yourself. So I appreciate that.
Damn.
So like, yeah.
Damn, I'm about to cry.
It's right. We get tissues. Where are the tissues? No.
Yeah. I think it's really dope how you can have those relationships in order like to push each other.
Yeah.
Like you're kind of competing, but it's not like aggressively.
Yeah, no.
It's like, oh, look at what he did. It's like,
it's not toxic competition.
yeah, it's like it really builds upon each other.
Yeah, it's a motivational competition.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah, and even if it's not motivational, it's inspirational.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like there's things that I see you do, and I'm like, bro, that's so cool. I don't think I personally would do that, but you are excelling at it. That's awesome. You're finding a part of you and you're growing that skill set. You're growing that interest. That's awesome. That core concept in itself of finding your interest and growing it.
Yeah.
That's what's fundamental.
And I think the right mindset to approach it is approach everything the same way you approach life.
Yeah.
It's like, you doing your part in school, which, I dropped out of school and a lot of people are like, oh, you probably hate school. And I'm like, no, I love school. Right. I was good in school. Like, I was a good student. Like, I actually enjoyed going to class. But I feel like I wasn't approaching it the right way. Right. And therefore, it felt for me. Or hence, I felt for it. And for you, I feel like you're doing it the best way. And a lot of people that just follow the structure that is given to them don't learn anything and fail in life later on.
Yeah.
I feel like you gotta try different avenues. Like, I've applied to jobs before, and they're like, why do you switch jobs so much? And
yeah.
I'm like,
no, yeah.
Why is that seen as bad?
Why is that an issue? Like, I don't think that, because I personally am like that. Like when it comes to my careers, I tend to hop, but it's because I'm still finding what I'm good at or what I'm interested in. Yes. I think that shouldn't be an issue.
I agree with you.
I think that there's actually is a motto that I live by, and it was because of my professor, Frank Martinez, that I was talking about. And Professor, or Frank, I call him, he said something and I loved it, and it's be a beginner. Yes. No matter how skilled you are at a certain task or workforce or whatever, no matter how skilled, say you're a beginner. Never say you're an expert. Yes. Because when you say, hey, I know this, I'm actually really skilled in this, then your mind's going to be like,
you're capped
okay,
out.
I'm good. I know everything I need to know. Your mind's not going to be open to learning. Say you're a beginner, act like a beginner, be a beginner.
Yes.
That should be applied to everything you pursue in life.
And when you become a leader, trust your beginners.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
Listen to everyone.
Yes. Misa, the owner of the studio, in Empower Studios again, he says, fail faster. Yeah. And I think that's beautiful.
Hand in hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know his did. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for coming. It was dope. I'll like tag everyone like where they can find you and stuff. And yeah, feel free to like reach out to her and connect with people. Yeah. Like that's really the goal of this, is to connect with more people and like build more things together as a community and to have the resources there available. So, yeah, so thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and that's it.
All right. We did it.
Dang, the 2 hours went flying.
And they did fly.
Yeah.
Sheesh.